Redditors, have you ever seen a hypnotist show? It's hoax or real? What's your story? I have been hypnotized twice. It is real in the sense that they make you incredibly comfortable doing things you normally wouldn't, but never did I feel like I wasn't in control. During the show, I felt kind of like the early stages of waking up from a nap. Same with me. It is real, but you won't do anything you don't want to do, from what I have heard. So then it's fake? If you won't do anything you don't want to do, then wouldn't that mean you're in full control anyways? At my senior field trip, I saw a few kids get hypnotized. The hypnotist asked one white fat kid if he wanted to perform a song. The kid chose "Tell Me When to Go" by E40. Let me tell you, he absolutely killed it, saying every word on point. There were some that were hypnotized, but some ended up waking up in the middle of it and shaking their heads. So the hypnotist had to take them off stage. It looked like, you're only susceptible to it if you choose to be. It's definitely real to a degree. It's kinda like meditation, but you are being put into that meditative state instead of doing it yourself. You can't be made to do something you don't or wouldn't be okay with, but that lack of inhibition may make you more willing to go along with the suggestion to be a frog or pretend the number 7 does not exist. I was quite adept at putting people into the state, but also quite susceptible to it myself. I was hypnotized. It was weird. I didn't feel like I was just playing along or pretending, so it felt real in that sense. But also, the hypnotist couldn't have made me do something I really didn't want to do. I had some measure of control. He made me forget the number 7, which was pretty weird. I answered 5 weekdays and 2 on the weekend when he asked how many days of the week, and when he told me to count how many fingers on my hand, I knew I had 10 but kept counting 11. That felt pretty real. But when he got everyone acting like dogs, I resisted it. It really was just like waking up from a nap. I did know a couple of the other volunteers, in that we'd gone to the show together. One of them said she was just playing along. Another claimed he couldn't remember anything that happened. So wildly different experiences between the 3 of us. We had a hypnotist come to our high school once, and I tried really hard to be hypnotized because I wanted to believe it was real so badly. It didn't work, and I found it pretty sus that the only ones who did end up hypnotized were the more dramatic attention-seeking kids. People who are highly suggestible are capable of being hypnotized, but they still do have control over their actions. The one show I saw my friend sitting next to me was zombified, even started to drool. I suspect the lack of sleep from the night before and his heavy belief in hypnotism led him to be hypnotized in his seat. Many of the volunteers are planted, but not all of them. They use the power of group suggestion to get people to comply, and if they really believe it, it will work, kind of. A lot of it is just some kind of weird social experiment, and the volunteers still have control over their actions. You can't make someone commit a crime, etc. Overall, it is just a show for entertainment purposes, and does not really have any deep-seated power over people. My friend is the most rational person I know. He got hypnotized and screamed at an audience full of people not to run at the pool, where he seemed to believe he was the lifeguard. He would be the world's worst actor. I have seen his genuine anger at other times. He appeared genuinely livid that these little shits were running around the pool he thought he was at. I'm convinced. I 100% believe that hypnotist shows are fake. And I 100% believe that hypnosis is real. But you can't do that on a stage where there are hundreds or even thousands of people watching. It has to be done with someone that is specialized in hypnosis, even better a psychologist that is specialized in it. You need to have trust in them, and also it has to be in a private, comfortable environment. I mean, it's proven that hypnosis works. Saw a hypnotist show once, years ago. What I remember was a big burly bloke who became convinced he was one of the Spice Girls, yes, it was that long ago, and prancing up and down the stage. He gave another guy a broom and told him it was the most beautiful woman he'd ever seen. Left them alone for a while, then when he came back to him the guy was sniffing the bristles and saying, "Her hair smells amazing." When I went to a hypnotist show at a Renaissance festival, the hypnotist had us do an exercise where we would start to get into that state of hypnotism. He had each person touch their forefingers together, like you're pointing at something with both hands, but your fingertips are touching, pointing at each other. Then he had us imagine that we couldn't pull our fingers apart. And through that I found that I could not pull them apart. It was amazing. It was like my fingertips were glued together. However, as he went on, I decided I wanted to watch the show and not be part of it, and in that moment my fingers separated. I realized then that hypnotism is definitely fooling your own mind in a way, but for me, it was always a choice to stay hypnotized or not. All in all, it was a fascinating experience. I saw a hypnotist make someone forget the number 7, then count their fingers. They kept counting 11 fingers. The guy on stage was beside himself, slowly going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11. It was hilarious and kinda sad. He was losing his mind. Hypnotism is very real. Freud used it as a therapeutic practice, and many therapists continue to do so until it fell into disfavor because people sometimes report things under hypnosis that seem like real memories but are more like dreams. I think you may be thinking of mentalist shows. And yes, I have been a part of one, and it's 100% fake, but that's not the point of the show. Like magic shows, you go to be entertained knowing that those are just illusions and not really the use of the dark arts. The show was interesting and I was able to figure out a couple of the tricks, one because I was the subject of it. But overall, I find that stuff makes me uncomfortable. I was in a hypnotist show. More or less what I did was play along, without a care of what happened, including licking my shoes. I remember everything. Including the guy next to me, who felt like a fool barking along with who let the dogs out. Basically, hypnosis was letting your inhibitions go, and just do whatever. Hypnotism is nothing like what you see on television or movies. And it works differently on different people. Some people are easily influenced, and these are the people that really get affected by hypnosis. There is an interesting show in the UK where a mentalist tries to show that you could convince someone to kill someone else through hypnosis. Something like the Manchurian Candidate. He started out with something like 100 people and quickly narrows it down to 3 or 4 that are very susceptible. At one point, he has one person lie in an ice bath and ignore the cold feeling. As long as the person was hypnotized, they actually didn't feel the cold.
Thank you for watching. In the comments below the video, write what you know about this topic and do not forget to subscribe to see new horrible discussions.